Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 5th, and I'm NASA's Nilofer Ramji. Here in Mission Control Houston, we are coming to you live in the International Space Station's Flight Control Room as we begin our coverage of SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. Overnight, the rendezvous ops were more efficient than originally timelined, resulting in an earlier approach initiation burn, which is now scheduled for approximately 7:23 a.m. Central, just a few minutes from now. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the forward-facing port of station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo. It will spend 1 month attached to station before returning to Earth. The NASA Flight Control Team here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California entered into integrated operations a short time ago and also pulled go for the approach initiation or AI burn. The AI burn is scheduled in just over 5 minutes from now at approximately 7:23 a.m. Central, 8:23 a.m. Eastern. This burn will last approximately 90 seconds, bringing the spacecraft up and under the space station. And we're approximately 5 minutes away from the AI burn. And while we await that, why don't we take a look at what happened last night? The SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft launched atop a Falcon 9 rocket from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida last night at Monday, November 4th at approximately 8:29 p.m. Central, 9:29 p.m. Eastern. This is SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft will deliver around 3 tons of new science investigations, food, supplies, and equipment to the international crew.
And on to for yesterday.
And Sunny, the time has finally come. We are ready for you to do the EDIVE activity.
I'm changing out the offload yesterday.
Copy and concur.
About 11 minutes after launch, the Dragon itself separated from the second or upper stage of the Falcon 9 into its preliminary orbit. Then we had the forward nose cap on Dragon cargo that was open to expose the docking mechanism that will come into play a bit later on this morning as it arrives at the Harmony module for its docking to station. Following the launch last night and earlier timelines, docking is now scheduled a little bit earlier this morning at approximately 8:55 a.m. Central Time, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. Over the last several hours following liftoff, Dragon has continued to execute a series of burns, which have gradually raised its orbit to align more closely with the space station. There were 5 major burns, or firings, of the Draco thrusters on Dragon that have been bringing the spacecraft closer to station as we begin the final approach maneuvers, which again are coming up in about 90 seconds from now. During the final phase of the rendezvous by Dragon cargo spacecraft this morning, there will be several checkpoints. If you can imagine the crosshairs on a target, the vertical line is called the R-bar. That's the radial vector, an imaginary line drawn between the International Space Station and the Earth. The horizontal line is called the velocity vector, or v-bar. That's the direction of travel in which the station makes its orbit around the Earth. At the crosshairs of that target is the International Space Station. Again, Dragon will be moving to a point directly below the station on the R-bar, or radial vector. Then we'll move out in a long looping maneuver in front of the station, and then move above the station to a point called waypoint 1. This is where all of the systems will be evaluated by the SpaceX Flight Control Team in Hawthorne, California, and the flight control teams here in Houston. We're currently in a brief loss of signal, which will come back very shortly, but we are getting ready for that burn that should be taking place as we speak. We'll await confirmation. Again, we are awaiting confirmation of a nominal approach initiation burn. That burn usually lasts approximately 90 seconds. And we have the burn underway. It's a good burn so far. The spacecraft is currently firing its Draco thrusters for a big rendezvous maneuver. Once again, the AI burn, or approach initiation burn, is approximately a 90-second burn that starts to bring the Dragon up and under the space station before it moves through its key checkpoints, including crossing the approach ellipsoid and keep-out sphere. The Draco thrusters on Dragon were firing for the approach initiation burn when Dragon was about 2.5 kilometers below station and just about 6 kilometers behind it. The AI burn is the final major burn, putting Dragon on an intercepting path, arriving at the space station near the docking axis corridor to take Dragon into its final approach to the forward port of the station's Harmony module. And we have just received confirmation of a nominal approach initiation burn, meaning we are well on our way to docking to the space station.
Houston, on to urine transfer compressor hoses connected to Padacha Daplanya on the EDV. 1290.
Copy all, Sunny. That's a good config. And Station Houston on.
With this morning's docking, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Nick Hague will be in the station's cupola, or are in the station's cupola rather, monitoring the arrival of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft from the International Space Station. This crew will act as an additional human in the loop, or humans in the loop, just in case we need to take control of this vehicle. The Dragon cargo spacecraft will stay docked to the station for approximately 1 month before splashing down and returning critical science and hardware to teams on Earth.
Station Houston, space to ground 2 for Nick and Butch for Dragon.
We're currently in a brief loss of signal, but as we're coming back on the air, we are currently in orbital night. As you can see on the map, you can see Dragon getting very close to the International Space Station in the Pacific Northwest. As we get into some daylight, we'll hopefully have some great views of Dragon as it completes its approach and docking to the International Space Station. That's a good idea. The GPS equipment on Dragon is now targeting a perfect arrival, an earlier arrival at the International Space Station. All of the burns have gone flawlessly to this point, and Dragon systems are in excellent shape. Once again, if you're just joining us, we are live here in Mission Control Houston. The SpaceX 31st commercial resupply mission is on its way to the space station. It was timelined a little bit earlier than anticipated. We are currently scheduled to dock at approximately 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. We're just less than 19 minutes away from a mid-course burn. This is a very small burn. It essentially fine-tunes the path following the AI burn on its way to waypoint 0. Waypoint 0 is approximately 400 meters below the space station. Once again, the AI mid-course burn is just a small correction to ensure that the spacecraft makes its way to the right port and to the right location on the docking port. A small adjustment that helps us get to waypoint 0, which is a position approximately 400 meters directly below the space station. At this hour, the International Space Station and its 7 crew members are flying approximately 262 miles over the northwest coast of North America on its orbit of the Earth. At the SpaceX Control Center in Hawthorne, California, flight controllers are also watching over the progress of Dragon in the overnight hours on Monday night into this morning, making sure all of the Dragon systems are in excellent shape, which they are as it continues to move into the final phases of its approach for docking to the space station in approximately 37 minutes from now at about 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. Dragon, as we mentioned, is carrying some 3 tons of supplies and science experiments to station. Science is, of course, the major objective of the activities aboard the International Space Station. Following the launch of the 31st commercial resupply mission to Dragon to the station on Monday, the science experiments and technology demonstrations on their way for arrival at the complex include studies of solar wind, radiation-tolerant moss, spacecraft materials, and cold welding in space. One of these investigations launching or arriving at the space station this morning is an investigation called CODEX, or the Coronal Diagnostic Experiment. This investigation examines solar wind, creating a globally comprehensive data set to help scientists validate various theories for what heats the solar wind. Solar wind is 1,000,000 degrees hotter than the sun's surface and sends it streaming out at almost 1,000,000 miles per hour. The instrument will take multiple daily measurements that determine the temperature and speed of electrons in solar wind, along with the density information gathered by traditional coronagraphs. When solar wind reaches Earth, it triggers auroras at the poles and can generate space weather storms that sometimes disrupt satellite and land-based communications and even power grids on the ground. Understanding the source of the solar wind could help improve space weather forecasts and response. Another investigation includes a radiation-tolerant experiment called ArtMoss, which uses live Antarctic moss. This investigation will study how some plants better tolerate exposure to radiation and to examine the physical and genetic response of biological systems to the combination of cosmic radiation and microgravity. There's been little research on how these two factors together affect plant physiology and performance, and results could help identify biological systems suitable for use in bioregenerative life support systems on future missions. NASA chose the Antarctic moss because the continent receives high levels of radiation from the sun. Its small size, low maintenance, ability to absorb water from the air, and tolerance of harsh conditions make this moss suitable for spaceflight. ArtMoss could also identify genes involved in plant adaptation to spaceflight, which might be engineered to create strains tolerant of deep space conditions. Plants and other biological systems able to withstand extreme conditions of space could also provide food and other necessities in harsh environments on Earth. Another investigation that's flying to the space station this morning is the Atmospheric Space Interactions Monitor, or ASIM. It's an Earth observation facility for the study of severe thunderstorms and their role in Earth's atmosphere and climate. Upper atmospheric lightning or transient luminous events occur well above the attitudes of normal lightning and storm clouds. The most common ground-based observations are known as sprites, a manifestation of electrical breakdown in the mesosphere. This investigation improves our knowledge of the effect of dust storms, pollutants from huge cities, forest fires, and volcanoes on cloud formation and electrification. It also helps us understand the intensification of hurricanes and its relation to the eyewall lightning activity. We are less than 12 minutes away from our minor AI mid-course burn. Again, this is a small correction burn to get us to waypoint 0. And right now you are looking at live views from the space station of Dragon. You are looking at live views from Dragon, of the space station as it begins its approach to the docking port. Once again, if you are just joining us, you are seeing live views from the Dragon spacecraft of the International Space Station as it continues its approach to the docking port. Overnight, the rendezvous ops were more efficient than originally timelined, resulting in an earlier approach initiation burn, which took place just a few moments ago. Docking to the orbiting laboratory is now scheduled at approximately 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. The Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the forward-facing port of the station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo, and it'll spend about 1 month attached to station before returning to Earth. The space station is currently flying just west of Guadalajara as we speak. We are about 13.5 minutes away from getting about 1,000 meters in the proximity of the International Space Station, which you see in your view right now. And in about 30 minutes, we will be about 400 meters below the space station. Over the last several hours following liftoff, Dragon has continued to execute a series of burns, which have gradually raised its orbit to align more closely with the space station. There were 5 major burns before the AI burn this morning, or firings of the Draco thrusters on Dragon, that have been bringing the spacecraft close to the station as we begin the final approach maneuvers. During the final phase of rendezvous by the Dragon cargo spacecraft this morning, there will be several checkpoints. You can see those on your screen. We have completed the approach initiation burn, and we are about 7 minutes away from an AI mid-course burn, which is a small correction burn to bring the Dragon spacecraft closer to the space station. Following that, we will be at waypoint 0, which is about 400 meters away from the space station. And you can see we'll head to waypoint 1, and then waypoint 2, and then finally contact and hard capture. We are monitoring operations live here in Mission Control Houston, along with teams that are in Mission Control at SpaceX in Hawthorne, California. Let's talk a little bit about what the approach looks like. If you can imagine the crosshairs on a target, the vertical line is the R-bar, or the radial vector. It's an imaginary line that's drawn between the space station and the Earth. And then we have a horizontal line, which is the velocity vector, or V-bar. That's the direction of travel which the station makes its orbit around the Earth. At the crosshairs of the target is the International Space Station. Again, Dragon will be moving to a point directly below the station on the R-bar, or the radial vector. We're currently in a brief loss of signal, and on your screen you see a map of the Dragon spacecraft currently hovering very close to the International Space Station as we begin or go through the rest of our docking operations this morning. At approximately 7:22 a.m. Central this morning, 8:22 a.m. Eastern, the spacecraft did fire its Draco thrusters for a big rendezvous maneuver. That was the approach initiation burn. That was a 90-second burn that started to bring Dragon up and under the space station before it moves through some of its key checkpoints, or waypoints, including crossing the approach ellipsoid and keep out sphere. The Draco thrusters on the Dragon fired for approximately 90 seconds, as I mentioned, for the approach initiation burn, when Dragon was about 2.5 kilometers below the stations and about 6 kilometers behind it. The AI burn was the final major burn, putting Dragon on an intercepting path, arriving at the space station near the docking access corridor to take Dragon to its final approach to the forward port of the station's Harmony module. And on your screen right now, you see views from the International Space Station of Dragon getting into its path below the space station. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft supplies cargo to the space station under NASA's Commercial Resupply Services 2 contract. This is the 5th flight of this particular Dragon spacecraft. It previously flew on CRS-31, 23, 25, and 28 cargo missions, with its most recent flight being in June 2023. Once again, this Dragon cargo spacecraft will stay docked to the space station for approximately 1 month before splashing down and returning critical science and hardware to teams on Earth. And once again, we are awaiting the AI, or the approach initiation mid-course burn. This is a very small burn to slightly correct the space station, or the Dragon's trajectory to the space station, as it begins one of its final checkpoints. We are less than 7 minutes away from reaching the 1,000 meter mark of the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it approaches the space station, and less than 90 seconds away from the approach initiation mid-course burn. And we are 30 seconds away from that mid-course burn. The spacecraft in your view right now is flying just west of Peru. You can see the space station and Dragon getting closer and closer, with our views being spectacular right now. When Dragon is hard mated to the space station, there is a vacuum tight seal, and it will be pressurized to match the same pressure as the station, pausing periodically for leak checks at the forward port of the Harmony module, which was opened up as a result of the port relocation of the Crew 9 vehicle on Sunday, November 3rd. Once it is pressurized, the crew will be able to open the hatch on the station side and Dragon side, and then will begin operations to unload the cargo, which is currently timelined to come about 2 hours after docking. A couple of umbilicals will also be deployed to get power and data from station to Dragon. This will move Dragon into what's known as acquiescent mode, essentially becoming an integrated piece of station once it's docked. And we have just received confirmation of a nominal mid-course burn as Dragon continues to make its path and journey to the International Space Station. We are less than 4 minutes away from the Dragon craft being about 1,000 meters below the space station. And we are about 8 minutes away from the go-no-go pull for waypoint 0, which is the next checkpoint as Dragon continues to make its way closer to the space station. And once again, if you are just joining us, you are looking at live views of Dragon as it's coming into your screen as we're working through docking operations that are expected a little bit earlier than anticipated this morning. The Dragon cargo spacecraft will be docking to the orbital outpost at approximately 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. Overnight, the rendezvous ops were more efficient than originally planned and timelined, resulting in an earlier approach initiation burn which took place a little while ago. The NASA Flight Control team here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX teams in Hawthorne, California entered into integrated operations a short time ago. And as you see the Dragon cargo spacecraft in your view, it is getting closer and closer to the International Space Station, and we are less than 1 minute away from reaching the 1,000 meter point. We are coming up right now on the 1,000 meter mark. This is essentially the first gate as the Dragon cargo spacecraft approaches the International Space Station. It's kind of arching below the space station. We'll soon be getting closer, and we just received.
Station Houston on space to ground 2 for Nick and Butch for Dragon. Dragon range is approximately 1,000 meters. Monitor long range approach per steps 124 in 1.102. Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
That's in work.
And there you heard Capcom, or capsule communicator, Megan Levin speaking to the crew members, Butch Wilmore and Nick Hague, who are monitoring approach of Dragon from the cupola aboard the International Space Station. The Dragon cargo spacecraft is currently approaching the west coast, or is around the west coast of South America, and will soon be passing over Santiago over Chile. On your view, you do see that forward nose cap of the Dragon cargo craft that was opened up to expose the docking mechanism. That will come into play a bit later on this morning as it arrives at the Harmony module for its docking to the space station. Following the launch last night, docking is currently scheduled a little earlier than anticipated for this morning at approximately 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern. Over the last several hours following liftoff, Dragon has continued to execute a series of burns, which have gradually raised its orbit to align more closely with the space station. We have a beautiful view, clear view of Dragon right over here. As we go into a brief period of loss of signal, and there on your screen you do have our flight control team. Closer to your screen you have Flight Director Garrett Hain. And to his right you have Capsule Communicator or Capcom Megan Levins.
So we're showing range 680, and that's only on our prop. We don't have a visual that is tracking the Dragon right now.
Houston copies. We zoomed in your SA view, which may be why you lost Dragon on that view right as we lost Case. We'll search for her.
And there you see live views of Dragon as it continues to approach the International Space Station flying over Argentina. This is SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft will deliver new science investigations, food, supplies, and equipment to the international crew. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft launched atop a Falcon 9 rocket from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida on Monday, November 4th at about 8:29 p.m. Central, 9:29 p.m. Eastern. Between launch to docking, we are looking at about a 12.5-hour transit period. Docking, once again, is scheduled for 8:55 a.m. Central, 9:55 a.m. Eastern this morning. The SpaceX uncrewed Dragon resupply spacecraft will deliver more than 6,000 pounds or 3 tons of scientific research, crew supplies, and hardware to the orbiting laboratory. Some of the hardware includes a potable water dispenser filter to remove iodine from the water before the crew consumes it in food and drink packages, an emergency portable breathing apparatus, which provides about 15 minutes of oxygen to crew members in case of an emergency, and a multi-filtration bed supporting the water processor assembly. It's an effort to replace some of the degraded fleet of units in orbit that improve water quality through a single bed. Also delivering some food on this cargo resupply mission, there is one fresh food kit. Crew members love the fresh fruit that is sent up. This includes probably some citrus fruits, some apples, some sweet onion and blueberries and radishes. And as we near into the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas, there is also a holiday bulk overwrap bag or bob bag, including things like lobster, crab, and quail. There's also a cheese kit, including Parmesan cheese, cheddar cheese, and Asiago, crew preference coffee, and 110 BOBs of standard menu and crew preference food and drink. The space station is monitoring the Dragon cargo spacecraft that you see on your screen. We are currently over the South Atlantic, just off the coast of South America. We are less than 5 minutes from waypoint 0, which is approximately 400 meters below the space station. The 31st Commercial Resupply Services mission to the...
At the correct range, plate on our pop with a good attitude.
And that was Butch Wilmore in the cupola, just confirming nominal attitude of the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it approaches the International Space Station this morning. Once again, we are less than 4 minutes away from the space station hitting waypoint 0. That is the checkpoint that is approximately 400 meters below the space station. And we are about 3 minutes out from the waypoint 0 burn, which will bring us 400 meters below the space station. It's not. This 31st Commercial Resupply Services cargo Dragon that is headed to the space station this morning is the first cargo vehicle for Expedition 72. Expedition 72 began on September 23, 2024 and ends in approximately spring 2025. The orbital residents have continued to explore a variety of space phenomena to benefit humans on and off Earth, including pharmaceutical manufacturing, advanced life support systems, genetic sequencing and microgravity, and more. Expedition 72 includes crew that's up on station, which are NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Nick Hague, who are monitoring the arrival of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft from the International Space Station this morning. And then we also have NASA astronauts and Commander Sunny Williams, NASA astronaut Don Pettit, Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin, Ivan Wagner, and Alexander Gorbanov.
Houston Station showing 400 meters in good attitude.
Copy, that's a good report.
And you just heard that call out. We can see live views of Dragon cargo spacecraft. The spacecraft is currently 400 meters directly below the International Space Station. With Dragon now 400 meters below the space station, it is at waypoint 0, which is the first checkpoint during our approach. The vehicle doesn't necessarily pause at waypoint 0. It just continues on as all systems check out on its path to the docking port. Waypoint 0 is also inside the approach ellipsoid, but outside the keep out sphere. The two safety zones around the station that requires sets of go no go poles with the different control teams. And if you are just joining us, we are looking at the journey that the Dragon cargo spacecraft will make as it begins or makes contact with the International Space Station this morning. And you are looking at live views of the Dragon cargo spacecraft. This is the 31st Commercial Resupply Services mission to the International Space Station. Currently, both Dragon and the International Space Station are flying over the South Atlantic, approaching the coast of southern West Africa. Our next checkpoint on the journey of Dragon as it makes its way to the International Space Station is Waypoint 1. That is 220 meters away from the International Space Station, and that is coming up in less than 12 minutes. The Dragon cargo spacecraft just passed Waypoint 1, or Waypoint 0, as it makes its approach to Waypoint 1. Waypoint 1, once again, is 220 meters below the space station. Waypoint 0 is inside the approach ellipsoid, but outside the keep-out sphere. The two safety zones around the space station that require a set of go-no-go poles with the different flight control teams. The first zone, called the approach ellipsoid, is an imaginary shape measuring 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. It's essentially a large 3-dimensional oval. Before Dragon is given permission to move inside this ellipsoid, referred to by teams as the AE, it is configured to be on what is known as the 24-hour safe trajectory. This means that if Dragon lost all control to its thrusters, it would be at least 24 hours before its orbital path would take it inside the approach ellipsoid. Once again, you are looking at live views right now of the Dragon cargo spacecraft with its nose cone deployed as it continues its approach to the International Space Station. The Dragon cargo spacecraft and the International Space Station are currently flying south of Africa. Once again, if you are just joining us, this is Mission Control Houston. We are live in the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center as we continue our coverage of SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. Overnight, the rendezvous ops were more efficient than originally timelined, resulting in an earlier approach initiation burn. Docking is slightly earlier than we had stated this morning. It is now currently targeted for approximately 8:50 a.m. Central, 9:50 a.m. Eastern. The Dragon cargo spacecraft you see on your screen right now is approximately 3 The spacecraft is about 324 meters away from the space station as it continues its approach towards waypoint 1. And waypoint 1 is about 220 meters below the International Space Station. We are about 7 minutes away from the go, no-go pole to waypoint 1. And again, waypoint 1 will just bring us as another checkpoint as it brings us closer to the International Space Station. And if you see that beautiful view right in front of you right now, this is the view from Dragon of the International Space Station as Dragon continues its approach.
Station Houston on space to ground 2. Dragon is transmitting docking camera video. Please confirm video and data updating in Dragon docking monitor.
Video confirmed.
Great news.
There on your screen to the right, you see Flight Director Garrett Hain and Capcom Megan Levins, who just communicated to Butch Wilmore, that is monitoring the approach of Dragon to the International Space Station this morning. Again, the view that you can see on your screen right now is coming to you live from the Dragon spacecraft of the International Space Station. We are about 5 minutes away from the go, no-go pole for waypoint 1, which will get us to about 220 meters away from the space station. The Dragon cargo spacecraft will be docking to the forward port of Harmony on the space station. And the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft supplies cargo to the International Space Station under the NASA Commercial Resupply Services 2 contract. This is the 5th flight of this particular Dragon. It previously flew on CRS-31, 23, 25, and 28 cargo missions, with its most recent flight being in June 2023. The views you are seeing live now are coming from the International Space Station as we monitor the approach of the Dragon cargo spacecraft.
Houston, maybe you're aware, but we also have lost the station view again. View of Dragon from station. Just now coming in.
We read your mind.
So on 2 for MSG.
With you, Sunny, on 2.
What if I get steps 1 through 5 done and get the MSG pulled out and ready to go for the things that we're going to do to it?
Hey, Sunny. Yeah, you can go ahead and get started on that if you'd like.
No problem.
And there you just heard the voice of NASA astronaut and Commander Sunny Williams. She is currently conducting science aboard the space station as NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Butch Wilmore monitor the approach of the Dragon cargo spacecraft to the International Space Station. To the right of your screen, you are seeing live views from the International Space Station of the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it continues to make its approach. And we are less than 2 minutes away from that go, no-go poll for waypoint 1. And we are heading into an orbital sunset. As you can see, the darkness coming up on the horizon of the right side of your screen. And to the left of your screen, you see views once again from the Dragon spacecraft of the International Space Station coming through as well. Once again, this morning, the docking is scheduled for approximately 8:50 a.m. Central, 9:50 a.m. Eastern. The SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft will dock autonomously to the forward-facing port of the station's Harmony module and spend about 1 month attached to station before returning to Earth. This morning, the cargo spacecraft will be delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo to the International Space Station, including food, supplies, and science. We are just awaiting that go, no-go poll for waypoint 1.
Station East on space to ground 2 for Dragon. MCCH is go for Dragon to approach to waypoint 2.
Copy, go.
And you just heard that call out live. That was the approach or go to approach waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is about 20 meters away from the International Space Station. But before we get to waypoint 2, we are actually about just over 7 minutes away from hitting waypoint 1, and once again, waypoint 1 is the spot approximately 220 meters directly in front of the space station, which places Dragon on the docking axis directly in front of the docking port. Dragon will continue to creep along the docking corridor as it approaches the port. The docking axis arrival, which is waypoint 1, essentially means that it is directly in front of the docking port. The spacecraft is headed to the forward port on the Harmony module. Harmony, or Node 2, is where both of the international docking adapters are located. These were installed for new commercial spacecraft.
Houston, the station camera just went to a red screen.
And you caught us in the middle of getting you an even better view, so stand by.
And you heard that views coming in. On your view, you see we are in orbital nighttime, but you can see Dragon approaching the International Space Station. And once again, we are under 7 minutes away, 6.5 minutes away from waypoint 1. The docking port, or Node 2, is where both of the international docking adapters are located. These were installed for new commercial spacecraft flights and any other future spacecraft that will also use the international docking standard. If everything looks good, Dragon will continue to move through waypoint 1 and cross the keep out sphere on its way to waypoint 2. Once again, waypoint 2 is the final stop, just about 20 meters in front of the space station. It will pause here for about a minute to ensure alignment before resuming the approach and closing in for contact and capture. Good morning. If you're just joining us, this is Mission Control Houston. We are live in the International Space Station Flight Control Room as we continue our coverage of SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. We are now awaiting the vehicle to approach waypoint 1, which is about 220 meters below or directly in front of the docking port by the space station. Docking of the cargo spacecraft to the International Space Station is currently targeted for approximately 8:50 a.m. Central, 9:50 a.m. Eastern. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the forward-facing port of the station's Harmony module and will spend about a month attached to station before returning to Earth. The spacecraft launched atop a Falcon 9 rocket from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida yesterday night, Monday, November 4th at 8:29 p.m. Central. This is SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft will deliver around 3 tons of new science investigations, food, supplies, and equipment to the international crew.
Station Houston on space to ground 2 for Dragon status.
Go ahead.
Just want to give you a heads up, at waypoint 2, Dragon will hold for approximately 2 minutes. We anticipate from a previous experience, docking lighting will be dark at about 20 meters, but we'll get that backlight good for you at about 10 meters. This will also give us time to do a georeflector assessment.
Okay, copy all. Still no ISS video.
Copy, Butch. We'll check into it.
And there you heard, once we approach waypoint 2, we will hold for approximately 2 minutes. But right now, the view on your screen is what the NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Nick Hague are seeing from the cupola. They are monitoring the live docking of the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it continues to approach the International Space Station. So you see in front of you these crosshairs on the target. The vertical line is called the R bar.
Houston on 2 for docking video. We've restarted the streaming service. Please let me know if you still don't have video.
We do. It just popped up. Thanks.
Excellent.
And the crew continues to communicate various updates as we continue our approach to the International Space Station. As I was saying, the vertical line is called the R bar or radial vector. This is an imaginary line drawn between the International Space Station and Earth. The horizontal line that you see on your screen is the velocity vector or V bar. That's the direction of travel in which the station makes its orbit around the Earth. At the crosshairs of that target in front of you is the International Space Station. Again, Dragon will be moving to a point directly below the station on the R bar or the radial vector. We've then moved into a long looping maneuver in front of the space station and then above to a waypoint 1, which is just coming up as we speak. We will await confirmation. And there we heard it. We are nominal at waypoint 1, and we are less than 11 minutes away from waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is about 20 meters away from the docking port on the International Space Station.
Houston confirming approach to the line point.
Gabrielle?
And if you are just joining us, we are covering the 31st commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station. You can see right now on the right side of your screen views from the International Space Station of the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it continues to make its approach to the orbital outpost. And to the left side of your screen, you can actually see the astronauts' view from the cupola as they monitor docking operations from the International Space Station. The green and red lights that you see here show the port and the starboard side of the Dragon cargo spacecraft, giving visual reference of the spacecraft. The flashing light is another visual aid that helps to monitor the spacecraft as we are in orbital nighttime. The Dragon cargo spacecraft, as well as the International Space Station, are currently, as I mentioned, in orbital nighttime just off the coast of India. We are under 13 minutes away from the docking of the Dragon cargo spacecraft, but before that, we have a couple of arrivals and checkpoints that need to take place. The first checkpoint is actually a go, no-go poll for docking. That is coming up in just about 5 minutes from now. In about 7 minutes from now, we have the arrival of Waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 brings us to 20 meters away from the space station.
Steps 5 and 6 have been reviewed, and we're ready for docking.
Houston copies.
And we are about 3 minutes away from that go, no-go docking poll, and you just heard NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore confirmed that the crew is ready to receive the Dragon cargo spacecraft as it continues to make its approach to the International Space Station this morning. If you're just joining us this morning, we are under 4 minutes away from the Waypoint 2 arrival this morning. Waypoint 2 is just 20 meters away from the International Space Station. These are just some of the final stages and poles of Dragon's rendezvous with the space station. This is also the approximate time where we start the integrated operations, or where we've begun rather, the integrated operations between the Dragon control team in Hawthorne and the space station flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston. The teams will transition into integrated operations roughly 45 minutes prior to approach initiation, which has already happened this morning, and SpaceX flight control teams are working in tandem with the NASA team here in Mission Control Houston to activate and test out a number of systems on Dragon, including setting up the data stream from Dragon to station, which we've seen views of this morning, giving another path for Dragon telemetry to come out to the ground, and giving an additional command capability to astronauts aboard the station. They've also maneuvered Dragon to the proper attitude and initialized the navigation sensors used for the methodical approach to the space station. We are less than 64 meters away from the International Space Station, with the arrival at Waypoint 2, the 20-meter mark, in less than 2 minutes. And Dragon's mechanism is configured for docking this morning, with the Waypoint 2 arrival coming up in just about 90 seconds from now. And in the meantime, we see on our screens now NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Butch Wilmore, who are monitoring operations as Dragon continues to approach the International Space Station this morning.
They're in the lab, not the
And there you see in the crosshairs, as the crew continues to monitor, you are seeing views of the hatch from the Dragon spacecraft as it continues its approach to the International Space Station. We are about 35 meters away from the approach, with docking scheduled in just under 6 minutes from now. We are just coming up on the arrival at Waypoint 2. That is the 20-meter mark. 30 seconds to Waypoint 2 coming up right now. With 19 meters away from the International Space Station, we just passed Waypoint 2, which is the final stop in front of the space station, and as mentioned earlier, we will pause here for approximately 2 minutes to ensure alignment before resuming the approach and closing in for contact and capture. We are inside the keep-out sphere, and the spacecraft continues to focus on aligning its docking system with the docking adapter. Dragon will then fly in and make contact with the docking adapter, giving us what we call
Houston on Space to Ground 2 for Dragon video. We're going to be swapping your ISS view on your SSC, so just a heads up that's coming. Also, this camera is known to have poor during eclipse, so be aware that it may be dark.
Copy. Vehicle mode is hold.
Copy, hold.
On the right side of your screen, you are looking at the forward port or the barrel of the Harmony module that was just vacated less than 48 hours ago as the Crew 9 vehicle was moved from this forward-facing port to the Zenith port aboard the International Space Station. Once again, we are less than 20 meters, about 19.8 meters away from the International Space Station, and we are holding at waypoint 2 as we continue our coverage this morning of the Commercial Resupply Services mission, the 31st one, to the International Space Station. And we are inside the 20-meter mark as we continue to approach for docking. Again, that docking will take place in less than 4 minutes from now.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2 for Dragon. Dragon is on final approach and is go for docking. Monitor per steps 5 and 6 in 1.102. Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station Wilco.
Just before docking this morning, you will hear the call for CHOP, which is the crew handoff point, telling the crew not to send any commands at that point. The capture ring on Dragon will interact with the international docking adapter on Node 2. Node 2 is the forward port of the space station and will receive the initial capture. And we are inside 15 meters with the crew handoff point coming up in less than 3 minutes. Dragon has 12 hooks, 2 sets of 6 hooks that will then engage for hard capture. This docking mechanism ensures the interface is flush and allows the first set of 6 hooks followed by the second set of 6 hooks. This takes approximately 13 minutes. And there on your screen, you see NASA astronaut Nick Hague in the red shirt and NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore in the blue shirt towards the back of the screen. They are currently in the laboratory portion of the International Space Station as they continue to monitor the approach of the Dragon cargo spacecraft, which is less than 7 meters away from docking to the International Space Station this morning. We are at 5 meters and nominal at this point, and we are approaching the crew handoff point in less than 30 seconds.
meters, hands off.
And there you heard the call out for the crew handoff point. We are less than 2 meters away from being perfectly aligned and docking to the International Space Station. We are standing by currently for contact and capture.
Station Houston, Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
And there you heard it, contact and capture. Docking took place this morning at 8:52 a.m. Central Time, 9:52 a.m. Eastern, as the space station was flying over southeast Russia.
Station Houston on 2, ring retraction in progress.
Station copy.
The docking ring is retracting right now to pull the two interfaces between the Dragon cargo spacecraft and the space station close together so they are flush. And on your screen right now, you see NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore, who is one of the two crew members this morning monitoring operations of SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station. Once again, contact and capture docking took place this morning at 8:52 a.m. Central, 9:52 a.m. Eastern, as the space station was flying over southeast Russia. Once the 12 hooks on the docking mechanism or on Dragon are hard mated, there will be a series of leak checks that will be performed, and about 2 hours after that we will have the hatch open on the Dragon and space station side so crew can begin unloading that precious cargo that arrived to the International Space Station.
Station Houston on space to ground 2 for Dragon. Ring retraction complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
Okay, yep, we're standing by.
The ring retraction is now completed. And the stage is set now for the first set of 6 hooks to begin to close, followed by the second set of 6 hooks.
Station Houston 2 for Dragon. MCS configured. Proceeding with hook driving.
Station copy.
And with that, we had confirmation that the first set of hooks are beginning to drive, attaching And if you are just joining us this morning, this is Mission Control Houston. We are live in the International Space Station Flight Control Room as we've continued our coverage of SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station. Contact and capture took place this morning at 8:52 a.m. Central Time, 9:52 a.m. Eastern, as the space station was flying over southeast Russia. Dragon has 2 sets of 6 hooks. That first set of 6 hooks are engaging as we speak for a hard capture. And we just received confirmation that the first set of 6 hooks have closed. We will await for the second set of 6 hooks. This operation takes approximately 13 minutes overall, so we will stand by. And here you have views of inside the International Space Station. You can see 4 crew members, NASA crew members in your view. Sort of to the right of your screen, the black curly hair that's floating there, that's NASA astronaut and Commander Sunny Williams. In front of her with the red shirt, that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague. To his left or behind him, you will see NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore. And way out in the distance, someone looks like they're having a snack. That is NASA astronaut Don Pettit. So 4 of our 7 crew members aboard the International Space Station are currently in our view. Butch Wilmore and Nick Hague have continued to monitor operations as Dragon has approached the space station this morning.
Station Houston, Space Ground 2 for Dragon. Hard capture is complete.
Outstanding. Good hard capture. Welcome aboard Dragon. Nice to have you aboard.
Just want to say thank you to SpaceX, the International Space Station program, the Commercial Crew program for bringing us honey.
And you just heard that the crew is excited to receive its cargo and supplies, including the honey that Sunny Williams just mentioned. With Dragon now hard mated to the space station, there is a vacuum-tight seal. It will be pressurized to match the same pressure as station, pausing periodically for leak checks at the forward port of the Harmony module, which was opened up as a result of the port relocation of Crew 9 on Sunday, November 3rd. Once it is pressurized, the crew will be able to open the hatch on the station side and Dragon side, and then begin operations to unload the cargo, which is currently timelined.
In Houston Station on 2 for ingress part 1.
With you, Nick, on 2.
Yeah, I'm just going to be on standby waiting for your guys' go. Do you have an idea of how long you're going to want to delay?
I'm checking.
You just heard NASA astronaut Nick Hague going through some of the procedures as they continue to go through the pressurization and leak check operation that's taking place right now. Once again, the unloading of the cargo is currently timelined to come about 2 hours from now. And a couple of umbilicals will also be deployed to get power and data from station to Dragon. This will move Dragon into what's known into acquiescent mode, essentially becoming integrated as a part of the space station once it has been docked, which took place once again this morning at 8.
You on 2, Nick? It'll take us just a couple of minutes to get configured, and then we'll be ready.
Okay. Any issues with me doing the teardown ops for the sliver activities that are just after the part 1?
No issues with that. Nick, your go for teardown now.
Great, good work.
And Station Houston on 2 for Butch.
Yes, go ahead.
Just wanted to give you a heads up on your rescheduled PMC. We're looking at 16:45 for that if it works for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
And on 2 for recycle tank drain.
And Sunny must be reading my mind. You are going step 7.
In work.
All right, this view is coming to you live of the Dragon cargo spacecraft. This is NASA and SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply services mission to the International Space Station. Following its launch last night, the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft for the 31st mission docked about 13 minutes ago at 8:52 a.m. Central, 9:52 a.m. Eastern, as the space station was traveling over southeast Russia. After the crew conducts some leak checks at the docking interface between Dragon and Harmony, the station crew will open up the Dragon's hatch and begin unloading the nearly 3 tons of scientific research.
And we are go for ingress part 1 at this time, and we'd actually prefer to get that in work before the tools tear down, if that works for you.
Yep, moving that way.
And you're just hearing about some of the preparations that the crew is currently undergoing to perform those leak checks. After they conduct the leak checks, they will be able to unload the nearly 3 tons of scientific research, crew supplies, and hardware that are being delivered this morning. The spacecraft will then stay docked to the orbiting lab for about a month before splashing down off the coast of Florida and returning that critical science and hardware to teams here on Earth. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning as we follow the rendezvous and docking.
2 UPA fill drain valve is in the process position.
Once again, thank you for joining us this morning as we follow the rendezvous and docking of the Dragon cargo spacecraft for SpaceX's 31st commercial resupply mission for NASA to the International Space Station.
Red.
This is Mission Control Houston.